Hello and welcome to another episode of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Pullein and today we're going to look at how Todoist can help you to plan 2023. Now Todoist is better known as a task manager, and yet since they launched boards maybe about 2 years ago, Todoist has also become an incredibly powerful planning tool. And I want to show you how I use Todoist to plan out my year based on the kind of projects that I'm going to be working on, and a few other things that I drop in there that are really important to know when I'm sort of planning out my year. So before we go any further, I would just like to say, if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's go into my demo account now and I'll show you how to get the most out of Todoist planning features. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to create a project, as Todoist likes to call them, called planning, which I've already done. But to quickly, if you haven't worked out yet how to create a project, all you need to do is clap the top button right there and add the name of the project and decide whether you want a list and so on. But I've done plenty of videos on starting projects. So here's one that I actually had from last year. So we've got my goals. Now my areas of focus. Now remember, this is actually my demo account, so there's actually nothing in there. Well, there's just a couple of demonstration things in there for you. My purpose and objectives, again, these are things that perhaps I use more for my daily dashboard. And again, I've done videos on that before. This video is really all about our planning of projects for 2023. So as you can see here, I have these as sub-projects. So I can close this because on a daily basis, I'm not going into this particular folder. I don't need to go in because this is just about planning. It's not about tasks. So what we first need to do is we need to create a project planner. So what I'm going to do is go back up to my projects and add project. So I'm going to call this 2023 project planner. And I'm going to make this into, let's say, mint green, and it's going to be a board because this is going to be important. So that's now created and it's down here at the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab hold of it and I'm going to move it above my goals. These, by the way, can be changed to 2023 as well, but we're focused on the project planner. Now I'm going to close the sidebar now. So there we go. We close the sidebar. Now, the first part of this is defining your sections. Now, there's two ways of doing this. One I prefer, but there is another way. The first one I prefer is actually to do it by quarter. That way, my board doesn't get too full. But the other way, if you prefer, and it's personal choice really, you can do it by month. But I'm going to do it by quarter, so I'm just going to go quarter 1 and add that section. I'm going to tap on to add another section and call this quarter 2, add the section, go here, add a second section, quarter 3, add the section, and finally quarter 4, and there. So those are my 4 sections. Let me just make this a little bit wider so we can see them all together. And so, by the way, you're always going to have this add section. Now, you may want a holding area for things that you're not sure about, but I don't generally do that because this is for projects that I know I'm going to do. Now, the first thing I'm going to recommend you do is put in any trips. Now, I know, for example, that I will have a trip to Ireland. Now, I'm doing this in capital letters simply because I know I'm going to need this. I'm also going to put in an asterisk because that makes it non-completable task. And you see what that means in a minute. Now, something new has happened in Todoist. If I do that, I can now tap bold. Now, before we had to create some kind of code But anyway, now you don't need to do that. Now I can also, if I can do this right, I think it's this button. Yep, I can also add a flag. So, oops, I'm gonna put in my flag here, and let's see. I think it might be easier to do a search for it. So I'm going to put in Ireland, and it gives me the flag. So I'm just going to tap that, and it didn't do anything. Hang on a minute. We'll tap that again. Go to flags. Hang on. This is nothing to do with Todoist. This is everything to do with Mac OS. And can I find the Irish flag? I think it's going to be easier again. Rather than looking through those small things, I'll just put Ireland. I get the flag. I'm just going to drag this out and put that right there. And it's not working. Okay, it didn't work. But anyway, you can also, particularly on your phone, if you want to, you can do that. So remember, what I've done is I've actually put an asterisk and then a space bar, and I've bolded trip to Ireland. Add that task. Now, you won't see much different here, but let me just put in, say, here I want to, let me just put in a project. So update time and life mastery course. Okay, so I haven't done anything with the text. I've left it exactly as it is. And if I just drag that underneath there, you can see that this is bolded and there's no checkbox there. So how did I do that? Well, let's put this back into Q1. Let's open this up again. All you need to do to get the non-completable task is asterisk. Oops, I don't know why that's over there. We put the cursor right there. Asterisk, space. And if I want to bold it, if I just highlight the text, and that will bring up these options right here. Now, this might very well be a beta version of Todoist. In fact, I think it is, which case this might not be with you right now, but it's a good indication that this is coming very soon. But I don't need to update the project, but I put the asterisks in, and you'll notice now that the checkbox has gone. And I don't need a checkbox for the planner, because the reason I'm using the board is so that I can move these things around. Now, let's go back to my trip to Ireland. I know that I'll also be going on a trip to Ireland in December, so I'm going to move that to Q4. The next thing I'm going to put in here are some of my more bigger commitments. Now, yes, generally speaking, this is a project, but I know in Q3, so again, I'm putting the star, and it's going to be Chun Chon Marathon. I'm putting that in there because I know that that's going to be coming up in that quarter. And when you're preparing for a marathon, you need about 2 to 3 hour runs every weekend as you're approaching the marathon. So that's something I need to be aware of. That's something I will be running in October. I need to be aware of it because it means that on a Sunday, I'm not going to have 2 to 3 hours to do work. I'm going to be out running. So those are the first things that I would recommend that you put in. Any commitments that involve time. So for example, here, I know it's going to be a 10-day trip. So I'm going to put in here 10-day trip. Because that tells me, when I can see that when I'm planning that quarter, I know that I'm not going to have 10 days. This one is usually 14-day trip. So 14-day trip. Again, I can now see that when I'm doing my planning. I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to have the full 12 weeks of the quarter. I'm only going to have 10 weeks. It just helps me to organize what I'm doing. Now, I know that every year after Apple have updated their software, so update. So I know this one's going to be update CAPS course. Now, I call that Complete Apple Productivity System. So I know that's going to come up every year. Again, I'm going to put the asterisks in at the start because this is, as I say, it's just a planning tool. It's nothing else. It's not a task. I don't want this confusing my whole system. This is just for me to plan. Now, as I mentioned before, you can have a holding pen right here, or you can move this to the start where you can projects to decide when you're going to do them. Other things that you can put on here are things like, well, I'm going to be going on my summer holiday in September. So I could put, at the moment, I don't know where it is, but summer holiday. And again, I'm going to bold that because this is something I need to know about time. So I'm going to bold that, add the task, and that's in there as well. So I've got Chuncheon Marathon, my summer holiday. Those are the first things I'm going to recommend that you put in this project planner. Yeah, a holiday might not seem like a project, but really you've got quite a bit of organizing to do. So that's going to be counting as a holiday, as a project, simply because you need to know that you might be on vacation for, say, I'm going to say here, 14 day. So I know, and I can see that, again, I'm going to lose 2 of the 12 weeks because I'm going to be on holiday. Now, after that, you can put in whatever projects you want to do. I'm self-employed, so I'm going to be putting in my work projects in there. But this could be just as easily used if you're using this as your personal task manager. You can use this to put in all your personal tasks, all the personal commitments and projects that you have for the year. Now, it could be that you have a project. Let's say in Q1, we're moving house. So it's moving house this year. So this is a proper project. Ooh, got to spell moving house. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to also make that a, hang on a second. I've got to find it on my keyboard. Oops, that's put in the wrong place. Let's just put this here. I'm going to put in the asterisk, space bar, and that's going to make that a non-completable task. Now, I'm moving house, but I know that that's going to be a 6-month job because we've got a lot of work to do on the house. So I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to put that over there. So now I know that it's going to be a 6-month project from looking for the house, arranging the mortgage, and then moving house. By the way, I'm not moving house. I just want to use this as an example to show you that sometimes you may have a project that runs over 2 quarters where you can just move it like that. So you're aware of what's going on. Now, the beauty of this, particularly if you're putting your work projects in here as well, is it gives you a very good idea about how busy you're going to be in a particular quarter. Now, I would recommend that you put your work projects. So I put work projects here and here, so you can see that I got my work projects in. But when I start building my project planner, I'm putting in my personal commitments first. Remember, life is not just about work, and Todoist shouldn't just be used for your work. It should be used to help you plan out your whole life. So these are the sort of things that I'm putting in here. These are my project plans for 2023. So I'm just trying to think of something that I've also got. Oh yes, develop. Again, it's easier to put the asterisks in first. So develop company training program. That's actually real. It's in my real Todoist. That's in there. I know I'm going to need about 6 weeks to develop that. At the moment, I'm just generating ideas and doing some testing. So, but I'm not planning on doing that until Q2. Also over here, publish, time, sector, system, book. For those of you who've been asking me about this, I have decided to delay it for a year because I'm not quite happy with the structure of the book. So I'm going to plan to do that at the end of next year, which is Q4. So that's right in there. Now that means that in this quarter, complete TSS. I call the time sector system TSS. Complete TSS book edits. And that goes in there. And I didn't put the asterisks in, so let's just get the asterisks in. There we go. So that's another project that needs to be done. I know it's going to take about 3 months to complete the book edits, which means that in Q1, I'm going to be rewrite, because I've actually written the first draft of this, rewrite TSS book. So in the first quarter, I'm going to rewrite the book. So this is, you can see now how you're filling in your projects. It also means that I don't need to worry. When we start January, I do not need to worry about this area. The only thing I need to worry about and focus on is this area. Q1 is the only thing that matters in Q1. There may be other projects that are coming in, and I can look at this thinking, right, well, Q2 is already looking very busy. I'm going to move that to Q3 and Q4. But it's just Todoist have given these amazing tools for us to actually build really solid planning systems inside Todoist, which means that on a weekly basis, when you're doing your weekly planning sessions, you can go in here and you can look at it and say, yeah, I'm on track for completing this and this and this, and that's all you need to worry about. So hopefully you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching, and it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.